Have you ever felt, I don't know, a deep, sort of unshakable urge for more wildness in your life? Like a longing for something untamed, really authentic, even if you couldn't quite put your finger on it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like this whisper, isn't it? A feeling that there's got to be more to us than, the roles we find ourselves in day to day.
Welcome, everyone, to the Gist Gab podcast. We love taking a closer look at the ideas that really shape our inner lives, and our outer ones, too. And today, we're getting into a truly groundbreaking and powerful work. It's Clarissa Pinkola Estés' incredible book, Women Who Run with the Wolves.
Yeah, this one, it's not just a read. It feels more like an experience.
Yeah.
Estes weaves together these ancient myths, fairy tales, folk stories, drawing a lot from her own Mexican mestiza and Magyar background. She's a poet, a psychoanalyst, a specialist in post-trauma work. And you just feel this depth, this wisdom from oral traditions running through it all. It's like she's tapping into something really fundamental.
And what we want to do today is really unpack her invitation, this call to reclaim what she names the wild woman. She sees this force inside every woman, just brimming with instinct, creativity, ancient wisdom. It's really about helping you embrace those deeper messages from your own soul, the ones maybe you've forgotten how to hear. So where do we even start with this huge idea?
Well, we have to start right at the core with the wild woman archetype itself. Estes argues she's this intrinsic force, like naturally part of every woman. But often, societal roles, modern life, they kind of suppress her. Think of her as your inner compass, maybe. Your gut feeling, that raw instinct, that deep well of creativity and knowing stuff without knowing how you know it.
I love the imagery she uses, especially Loba, the wolf woman. She's the central figure who lives out in the desert collecting wolf bones.
Exactly. It's such a potent image. La Loba represents this deep connection to the earth, to that instinctual, primal nature within women. And yeah, she collects these scattered bones.
But it's not just about collecting bones, right? It symbolizes that journey of self-discovery, finding those lost pieces of ourselves.
Precisely. It's about reclaiming those parts. And then the rebirth metaphor she uses is just, wow. La Loba sings over the bones.
Yeah.
She breathes life into them, animating them until the wolf spirit comes back. Estes calls it the rejuvenation of the wild and instinctual aspects in women. It's this powerful metaphor for bringing back what's been silenced or lost within us.
There's that quote, too, to sing means to use the soul voice. It means to say on the breath the truth of one's power and one's need. That really makes you stop and think. So what does this actually ask of us, then, if we're talking about singing our truth?
Well, it's really an invitation for you, the listener, to look inward. Estes literally poses the questions. What has happened to my soul voice? What are the buried bones of my life? It's a call to really dig deep, to find those neglected parts, those lost dreams, maybe instincts you've been taught to ignore, and figure out how to, sing them back to life.
That's a profound question to sit with. And often, I suppose, when you start trying to sing those bones back, you bump up against the things that buried them, which leads to this idea of the natural predator.
Yes, exactly. She talks about this natural predator that exists within us, particularly within women, she argues. It's not some monster outside, but a kind of destructive psychological part of ourselves, like an inner critic or saboteur. It disrupts growth, feeds self-doubt. It's this force against nature, contra naturam, that can really derail us.
And she says pretty clearly that to keep this predator in check, we need to stay in possession of all our instinctual powers. She uses the story of Bluebeard to illustrate this, doesn't she? The guy with the forbidden room.
Oh, the Bluebeard tale is such a potent allegory here. It's all about confronting these destructive forces, whether they're coming from outside or, more subtly, from within our own minds. You've got the naive wife, the door she absolutely cannot open, and the horrific secret behind it. It all points to the need to uncover hidden truths about what diminishes us, what holds us back.
And the key itself is symbolic, right?
Hugely symbolic. Estes says the key represents the essential knowledge and intuition that women must harness to confront their inner predator. Ignoring that key, ignoring that gut feeling that something's wrong, that leads to self-deception, losing your vitality.
It really drives home how dangerous it is to ignore those internal alarm bells, which kind of connects to another concept she discusses, the feral woman. What's that about?
The feral woman is described as someone whose natural psychic state, her instincts, have been dulled, maybe by being overly domesticated, too focused on pleasing others or fitting in. And this makes her vulnerable to what Estes calls leg traps, cages, and poisoned bait.
Like societal pressures and expectations.
Exactly. And the story she uses here is the red shoes. The handmade red shoes in the tale symbolize a woman's own self-designed life, her passions, her vitality. When they get destroyed or taken over, it signifies the loss of a woman's ability to pursue her passions. Estes points out specific traps like the gilded carriage, seductive comfort that takes you off your path, or the dry old woman, those oppressive norms that just drain your spirit, or even burning the treasure, sacrificing your own joy and creativity.
It's a strong warning about losing yourself, but it makes me wonder, is all conformity inherently bad? Does she leave room for the idea that some social connection is actually good?
That's a really fair point, and yeah, it's worth thinking critically. Estes is laser-focused on the dangers of destructive conformity, the kind that disconnects you from your wild soul. But of course, healthy community bonds, shared values, those can be incredibly positive. I think the distinction Estes would make is about discernment. Are you conforming to something that aligns with your deep self? Or are you just giving in to pressures that deaden you? It's about finding your true pack, which she talks about later.
Okay, so discernment is key. Not just rejecting everything, but choosing what nourishes your soul. Which leads us nicely into intuition. She sees that as a real treasure, doesn't she?
Oh, absolutely. She calls intuition a vital tool for women, like having this wise inner mother figure always available. It's that gut knowing, that direct line to deeper wisdom.
And she uses the Russian folktale, Vaselisa the Wise, to explore this. Remind us of that story.
Right, Vaselisa is sent by her cruel stepmother into the dark forest to get fire from the terrifying witch Baba Yaga. An impossible task, basically. But Vaselisa has this tiny magical doll her mother gave her, and the doll guides her. The doll is the symbol of her intuition. Through facing Baba Yaga and completing these tasks, Vaselisa learns to trust and harness that inner knowing.
So the doll is the intuition guiding her through danger.
And connecting it back, Estes really emphasizes how these stories, these folktales like Vaselisa's, they act as vessels for unveiling the wild woman's wisdom. They're tools for healing, for helping women reconnect with that intuitive self, learning to listen with what she sometimes calls soul hearing.
Moving from that inner guidance towards connections with others, Estes also really delves into relationships, finding your pack. She talks about this dual nature in women.
Yes, the idea that women often have both a pragmatic, visible self, the one that interacts with the everyday world, and a deeper, instinctive, more elusive self, the wildish self. She uses the story of Manawi, where a potential mate has to truly understand this duality to win the woman's heart. She says, to win the wildish woman's heart, a mate would understand her natural duality through and through.
It's not about being deceptive, but just multifaceted.
Exactly. It's recognizing the depth. And she encourages women to actually express this duality, to ask partners what they truly desire, to foster real understanding instead of pretending to be only one way.
That leads into something really profound. She discusses the skeleton woman and the life nature of love. That sounds intense.
It is intense, but also incredibly insightful. The idea is that real, enduring love isn't static. It has to go through cycles, animation, thriving, then decline, endings, and then rebirth into something new. It's a constant transformation.
So skeleton woman represents...
She represents that transformative cycle, even the death aspect. To have deep, lasting love, Estes argues. Partners need to welcome skeleton woman, or Lady Death, metaphorically speaking. They need to face the fears, the necessary endings of old patterns, old ways of relating, so that something deeper can be reborn. She writes, when one commits to love, one also commits to the revivification of the essence of skeleton woman and all her teachings. And interestingly, she links tears to this. Tears aren't weakness, but signs of profound feelings of compassion and longing, deepening connection.
Wow. So embracing the whole cycle, endings and beginnings, vulnerability, that's the path to deeper connection. But what if you feel like you don't belong anywhere to begin with, like the odd one out?
That's where the ugly duckling archetype comes in. It's for anyone, any woman who feels alienated, maybe misunderstood by their family or society. Essie has such powerful advice here. She says, basically, stop focusing on why you didn't fit in there and start focusing on finding your true community, your real kin, your pack. Her quote is amazing. It is worse to stay where one does not belong at all than to wander about lost for a while and looking for the psychic and soulful kinship one requires.
That must resonate with so many people, that permission to stop trying to fit in where you clearly don't.
It's permission to seek your true belonging.
And related to belonging and finding your place is this idea of homing, returning to yourself. She uses the soul skin story for this.
Yes. Soul skin is her term for a woman's essence, her core identity, that wild nature. The story is about a seal woman whose sealskin gets stolen, forcing her to live on land as a human wife. It illustrates how losing your soul skin, maybe through trauma, societal pressure, or just neglecting your own needs, leads to this feeling of spiritual dryness, disconnection, longing for home. Reclaiming it, Estes suggests, often involves intentional solitude, taking time away from the noise to reconnect with that deep inner self, returning to your true psychic home.
Okay, so we've talked about finding yourself, intuition, relationships. Now let's touch on embracing the whole spectrum, including maybe the messier parts, like the body, sexuality, even anger. She talks about sacred obscenity.
Yes. And she connects it to the sensory being, to a kind of wise, irreverent female sexuality that has often been suppressed. It's not just about sex, but about embodied joy and wisdom. She brings in Balbo, the Greek belly goddess.
Yeah.
The story goes that the goddess Demeter is grieving deeply, and Balbo lifts her skirt, makes some crude jokes, and makes Demeter laugh. It breaks the spell of grief. So Balbo shows how humor and laughter can help heal emotional pain and reconnect individuals with life and joy. Laughter itself is seen as this potent, sometimes wild, healing force that's part of women's sacred nature.
Reclaiming laughter and maybe even a bit of healthy irreverence. And what about the darker emotions, like rage, marking territory?
Absolutely. She doesn't shy away from rage. She explores its transformative power, using the Japanese tale of Tsukino Waguma and the Crescent Moon Bear. The point is that rage, which we often see as purely destructive or something women shouldn't feel, can actually be a teacher if we approach it mindfully. It signals that a boundary has been crossed, something needs attention. By confronting and understanding the anger, not just acting it out blindly, it can lead to creative renewal and healing. She literally calls it rage as teacher.
Listening to what the anger is telling you, that sounds like another kind of initiation.
Yeah.
Which brings us maybe to battle scars and endurance. I'm thinking of the Handless Maiden again.
Exactly. The Handless Maiden is this incredibly powerful story symbolizing a woman's whole life journey, really. Her initiation into endurance, she loses her hands, symbolizing her agency, her instinct, often through terrible circumstances. But through her suffering, her tears, her perseverance, she eventually grows new hands, reclaims her power. It shows incredible resilience. And the battle scars become symbols not of shame, but of membership in this Scar clan. The community women who have navigated loss, hardship, transformation, and come through with wisdom and strength. They're badges of honor in a way.
And all of this ultimately circles back to that core idea from the beginning, doesn't it? The indestructible wild self.
Those wolf bones Loba collects, the idea of the keeper of the soul, they all point to this enduring essence, that wild part of the self, the instinctual nature that remains committed to freedom and authenticity no matter what society throws at it. It's the part that can't be broken.
So wrapping this up, we've journeyed through Estes as women who run with the wolves. It really feels like she offers a whole new vocabulary, a new way to understand the female psyche. It's a guide, really, to reclaiming that fierce, transformative, authentic self, recognizing the lost parts, facing the obstacles, trusting your gut, building relationships that nourish you, embracing cycles of life and death, honoring all of it.
And it's so important to remember this wild woman archetype. It isn't some exclusive club. It belongs to you, wherever you are in life. Estes makes this point so beautifully herself. She says, so whether you are an introvert or extrovert, a woman-loving woman, a man-loving woman, or a God-loving woman, or all of the above, whether you are possessed of a simple heart or the ambitions of an Amazon, whether you be spicy or somber, regal or roughshod, the wild woman belongs to you.
Which leaves us, and you, with a final thought to ponder. How might embracing your own wild woman, even just a little bit, shift things for you? Your daily interactions, maybe, your creativity, your sense of belonging? What buried bones are you ready to start thinking back to life?